with the UK FTA rolling out, we in the industry feel extremely positive about it. UK is a circa $50 billion market, and at present, what we are selling there is not very significant. And therefore, with this FTA in place, there is a lot of room for the Indian industry to actually get more inroads into UK. And where PDS actually comes specially into the frame is that 50% of our $2.2 billion GMV at present is actually catering to a UK market. And so far, that was being done from markets beyond India. And now, with this FTA, we believe a large part of what PDS and what industry would be selling into UK can clearly be sourced from India. So we are pretty excited about these prospects unfolding from today.
Okay, yes, sounds good and sounds like a very big opportunity for the company as well, because Mr. Jain, a significant part of your business comes from long-standing relationships with global retailers. Have you already started receiving inquiries from customers looking to revisit their sourcing mix in light of this CETA? Or do you think the benefits will play gradually over some time or over the next few buying seasons?
No, I think we are already witnessing the traction. As I mentioned, PDS has been enjoying relationship with large UK retailers, wherein there is increasing inquiry from them for sourcing from India. In fact, we anticipated that to happen. That's where last year we acquired a facility, Knit Gallery, down south in Tirupur, and that acquisition plus onboarding of many other partner factories has enabled us meaningfully respond to this traction. So to answer your point, we witnessed the day one of Bharatex yesterday. There have been a lot of global leading brands coming up here. So it is not few quarters away. It's the traction is building right now, right here.
Right now, right here. That sounds good, Mr. Jain. Let's refocus. Let's also talk about the two big deals that you have announced over the last couple of days. Let's start by talking about the deal with the French retailer first. It's a sizable deal with an annual sourcing value of over 250 million US dollars. Should we think of this as a pure revenue opportunity, or does a deal like this also improve profitability because of the sourcing as a service model?
I think to put things in perspective, 3-4 years back, we started this line of business called sourcing as a service. And at the end of FY23, we were doing about 1,200 crore of GMV under this. And at the end of FY26, it was more than 6,000 crores. So we actually grown 5 times. That is number one. Secondly, 1/3 of this 6,000 crore plus was actually home and general merchandise. So we started with apparel and now added 1/3 of that in home and general merchandise. This year, this is a second transaction. The first one was with a large US-based retailer, wherein we anticipated to handle about $50 million of annual business. And now with this French retailer, about $250 million. That's about 300 million. I think now to answer your point, this is a GMV that we handle for the customers. And on that, we make a fee, say close to about 2 to 3%, which is what comes into my P&L as a revenue. On that, the 2 to 3%, there is a significant profit margin ranging between 30 to 50% on that revenue that I make. So therefore, it is not just revenue. It is number one, a strategic relationship with the retailer spanning, for example, the French retailer spanning over 4 years. This is a beginning. There's potential to do more. Secondly, it's a very transparent way of doing business wherein, the retailer has trusted us. We totally share with them what costs are we going to incur in this process. And they then allow us to make a reasonable margin. So therefore, this is revenue, this is strategic relationship. At the same time, this is meaningful profit coming in a P&L as well.
Understood, and thanks for so concisely putting down those numbers for us. While that was on the one of the biggest deals that you've recently announced, let's also talk about the Busana Apparel Group deal. Can you help me understand what the Busana deal brings to PDS and what is the capital commitment here from both partners? Does this partnership reduce your dependence on other third-party manufacturing partners?
See, PDS manufacturing today is 3 large facilities. 2 in Bangladesh and 1 in Tirupur. All 3 put together, we have invested close to about 1,000 crores. In the last year, FY26, we generated about 1,100 crores of revenue with about 3% plus of profit from this. Whereas Busana, on the other hand, has been largely operating from Indonesia. Their annual turnover is about 5,000 crore plus. While in the partnership, we will continue to run our independent factories, but we have formed our overlaying JV, wherein in this JV, we both partners will bring in our customer relationships, our best operating excellence practices, and those would then be transmitted to the individual factories working underneath. So as a result, this partnership helps us get an access to capacities without kind of doing a capital spend. It allows us get an access to each other's customers. Busana, for example, has been operating at the high fashion end, whereas PDS has been operating at the value end. Also, it helps us get the operational excellence. So what it would translate into going forward in year one, year two, is ability to get more revenue from the existing capacities, ability to get more profit margin by upgrading the customer profile. So I think we both parties felt bullish that in a partnership we can take this agenda ahead.
Understood. And how quickly, in your view, can this partnership start contributing to your revenues? Is FY27 likely to see any meaningful benefit, or is this more of an FY28 story?
I think in the later part of this year, as you would know that before it actually start clicking in, there is knowledge transfer, knowledge share process. So somewhere in the later part of FY27, we should see the early benefits coming in, but more meaningful benefits which should get reflected in the P&L in FY28.
Okay, understood. So we'll be watching out for that. And Mr. Jain, of course, you did mention about the new facility in Tirupur and some of the other partners. But also for both of these deals, will all of this existing capacity be enough to fulfill the orders that you're looking at? Or are you going to be looking at further expansion, hiring? Would that lead to increased costs or any further capex needs?
So I think for the immediate future, getting a 15 to 20% revenue out of the existing facilities of PDS is very much doable. In fact, in the Bangladesh capacities, wherein we do almost about 700 crore plus, can we get 20% each more for the next 2 years? I think that is very much doable from the existing capacity. In Tirupur, from the current revenue of 300 crore, we clearly see a potential to double it up. And I think in the existing premises, we do have provision in terms of availability of land, in terms of availability of floor, whereby we can add machines without having a major capital outlay. We can actually add machines to, from a circa 1100 crore top line of all three put together, we can actually transfer to 1500 crore in about 2 to 3 years time frame.
Okay, that sounds good. So the capex incremental spend from here is not going to be too much for the next 2-3 years. Is that something that we can conclude? Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And also, Mr. Jain, both these deals that you have announced, one strengthens your customer side and the other strengthens your supply side. So you've got both demand and supply at play over here. You had earlier guided for mid-single digit revenue growth and roughly 10% profit growth for FY27, along with steady margin expansion. Now that both of these deals have also been signed, does that meaningfully change the earnings trajectory guided earlier?
I think we started the year on a very cautious note, given the global geopolitical situation that has been prevailing. The first 3-4 months are unfolding well. These two important strategic deals are looking very good. So I guess to answer your point, we'll continue to watch, for a couple of more months. And somewhere in the middle of the financial year, we will reassess the situation. For now, the mood is upbeat and positive. That the things that are unfolding are actually making us feel more and more positive about the current year and the future as well.
Understood. And Mr. Jain, on that note, lastly, at the start of FY27, you had indicated an order book of around 5,000 crore rupees. Given the wins that you've announced since then, can you give us what the updated number there is? I understand that, we're looking forward to the earnings later, but any indication on that front?
So I think we are in a silent period with respect to the numbers. So allow us to interface with you when we come back in August along with the Q1 earnings, please.